Hello, everyone. Here we go. Billy Kirkwood here with Ryan Fitzsimons. There he is.
It's finally time.
It is finally time.
I mean, people have been lambasting me in my comment section on YouTube. When's the wrestling podcast coming? It's here.
It's here. This is it. It's happening in real time. Welcome to Wrestling Forever.
The name reveal.
I think so. We have so many names for the wrestling podcast, and we're going to get back to those in a little while. But if you've never tuned into a wrestling podcast, where have you been? If you've tuned into a wrestling podcast, it's fine. You've found your way home. You've finished your story. You have got yourself
finished the story. God, is it April? I'm buying April.
You found yourself at the WrestleMania of Wrestling podcast.
See, this is the thing. There is so many wrestling podcasts.
Oh God, yes.
So many. But we're here to give you a mission statement.
Yes.
We're going to tell you why we're different.
Yep.
And we're going to tell you why you should tune into us on whatever basis we do this on, whether it's weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, fortnightly, I don't know. We're going to tell you why you should listen to us.
Yeah, we're different. We're here to try and keep each other in check. Yes. I think that's going to be... but who the bloody hell are we?
God bless me.
Who the bloody hell are we? My name's Billy Kirkwood, stand-up comedian, wrestling commentator. I do many things, none of them well. But
give yourself some credit, man.
5-time Scottish Comedy Award winner, 2-time BAFTA winner. I don't want to be that guy.
I feel terrible because I have 0 awards.
But what I have here is one of the premier creators, influencers and podcasters in the scene today. I mean, these other people that try to do the Celtic podcasts, but just stand at the back.
Dropping the influencer.
Just stand at the back. Sorry, I did feel bad about that. That sounds like your heel gimmick.
I am not influencing anybody to do anything, but I appreciate the kind words.
Well, there it is.
The premier Celtic YouTuber. If I'm going to go heel, yes, number one. Aye, so of course, ICW co-commentator with Billy. If you've not heard this together on the headset, then we urge you to check it out. But this is something different. This is a talk about like wrestling in general. Yes.
We don't want to be one of those wrestling podcasts. We are going to talk about what's going on with the current product. How can we not, right? But one of the things we wanted to do is, it's not one of these wrestling podcasts like, this happened in this minute, this happened in that minute, this happened in this minute. And as much as we all love the podcast with people that have been involved in wrestling for a long time, talking about their memories, which may or may not be worked, let's face it. I love a Bruce Pritchard podcast, but there's only so many times I can get him saying, I don't recall.
Exactly. I don't want to be one of the podcasts that comes on here and say, well, what day is it today? Wednesday? Yeah. So I don't want to come in here on a Wednesday and go, so Raw started with Jey Uso yeeting in the crowd. That was good, and it went into... we're not here to give you a play-by-play analysis of what happened in a show.
Exactly.
We're big picture guys.
Big picture guys. Aye. And we're all about connecting with you guys. So if you want any questions, if you want to ever share, you want to get involved, that's what it's about. We are, I don't want to say we're playing the long game, but we're planning to be around for a while and having fun with this.
And we're going to learn as we go.
Oh, totally.
Like, we want to know what you guys like. We want to have as much interaction with the viewers of the podcast as possible. And in between, there might be other bits of content. Like, we're going to sit here for a good while today, but it'll be short form of content. It'll be different content. We'll get to know what you like. Should we address the microphone?
We should address the microphone thing. So in our studio that we're in just now,
yes,
we thought it'd be best to bring you the best quality we can, because there is actually, you might as well say, there's a church next door.
Hopefully they don't start singing anytime soon.
Who at any point could rev up and just completely outdo us.
It's like New Day gospel kind of.
Oh, very much. So, and as we're commentators, we thought let's put on the headsets.
Yep.
Let's put on. This is what they use for the golf. This is what they use for.
That's true. When you tune into like the NFL, like this is what they're sitting talking through all the time, like on the pre-show analysis. Like we can pull this off.
See, any time I tune into football, right? It's like Super Soccer Sunday, Saturday.
Super Soccer Sunday.
I was about to say. It's on a Saturday traditionally. There's that 30-minute one they do on a Sunday. I always love it when you can see the old school broadcasters that have got the mic.
Aye, 100%.
But then there's the more modern ones that have got the headset. I would love see the old.
I want them so bad. Like Gary Neville does his podcast using them. The Gary Neville podcast. He has like the old school like covering the mouth. Like he's got the. I would love one of them. I don't know how you go about.
We're gonna get them. We're gonna have a one.
But it's different because I'm so used to doing Select the Thunder, my other podcast, with like normal arm microphones. But what we were saying before the show is, over time you will notice quality changes.
Yeah.
This is kind of like the skeleton of what we hope it will become. So
yes.
We've only got one camera now. Hopefully we'll have other cameras, different angles, different mics.
It's going to expand.
Yes.
But what we're about is the content.
Yes.
So let's get the content going. Let's talk wrestling. So Survivor Series is now on the horizon.
Yes.
It looks like WWE are building towards that. AEW has no idea what they're building towards.
Full Gear? Is it Full Gear?
Well, I noticed this today, right? You see when you put in the hashtag, right? You see when you put in the hashtag AEW, it has technically more people looking at the hashtag that are actually watching the show.
Oh dear.
Right, and we're not here to hate on anybody.
No, of course, we're here to appreciate all walks of wrestling.
Because I love AEW, right? So we're talking about likes and dislikes.
Yes.
Like, give me two likes you're into just now, loving about wrestling.
Oh God, 2 likes that I really like at the minute. Oh, let me think. I like the thought of CM Punk being back.
Yes, big CM Punk fan.
That's what I like the thought of. What else do I like it? No, genuinely, what do I like the thought of just now? I was going to start with dislikes because there's a couple in my head.
I'll tell you what, let's kick off with
dislikes. Let's start with
then.
dislikes. Because Survivor Series, you brought it up.
Yeah.
War games. Dislike.
You don't like war games at all?
I don't dislike it entirely.
Or do you not like it being a part of Survivor Series?
I dislike them booking themselves into corners every single year.
Right, okay.
So this year, they've got the Bloodline versus the new Bloodline, which is a great idea on the surface.
Yep. I'm starting to feel like it's a wee bit rushed. I'm starting to feel a wee bit rushed.
So they've had Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, and now, I don't want to spoil anything that happens on next week's pre-tape Raw.
Ah, yes.
But somebody else has suddenly forgiven Roman Reigns, it seems. All these people have forgiven everything that's happened in the space of a few weeks.
Yes.
Instead of telling an actual story. They've booked themselves into a corner. Kevin Owens is now looking like the biggest face in the entire history of WWE.
He's meant to be heel.
He's meant to be heel, and he's right. But it's not just that. The women's stuff, I feel, has been rushed as well.
Yeah.
I think War Games needs to become what Hell in a Cell has become. Get rid of a pay-per-view with the title War Games in it.
Yep.
And stop booking yourself into a corner. When a match needs War Games, bring out War Games.
It should be big. It shouldn't be every year.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be. I know they did that in WCW with War Games pay-per-view and what have you. So I do get it. But I feel like, do you know, it feels like after such a creative year they had last year, it feels like they're rushing it.
Exactly.
It really feels like
last year there was obviously the whole lore of, will CM Punk be there? Will Randy Orton be there? And it all kind of started coming together nicely. But I do, if I go back to last year, there was also things in that match that I was like, that doesn't really make sense. And I feel that happens every year now. And it didn't happen when it was an NXT and they brought it back the first time because it all kind of naturally
I thought that would be together. As far as it would go.
So did I.
I didn't think it would ever come up to the main roster.
And it did.
And
Every year.
And I hate the 2 rings. See, whenever you watch a pay-per-view, imagine how pissed off you would be. You got a ringside seat. And all the action happens in the other fucking ring.
I know they try their best on the night to alternate it, don't they? Like, they do one match in one ring and then they do another match in the other. But, like, imagine you paid all that money and you were dying to see, I don't know, this Gunther and Damian Priest, if that's the match that you've paid your money for.
Which I'm a bit more into now.
Yeah, same.
I'm a bit more into
imagine that was in the ring that was farthest away from you. You'd be raging, man. You'd be absolutely fuming. So that's one of the things I'm hating right now.
You're there dressed head to toe as the bisexual Undertaker. You are good to go.
That's one of the things I do like, to be fair. If we're going to run through 2 things that I dislike very quickly, it would be that, and it would be, I guess it kind of ties into it, but I'm just going to say it because the whole point in this segment is to get it across. I'm really not digging the Bloodline at this moment. I'm kind of bored, and I think that it could have ended in April.
I that's interesting because it's only been in the last couple of weeks that I've started going like, this doesn't feel...
I've loved it.
It doesn't feel right. It feels like...
Something's off.
There's something off. And I don't know if that's been done on purpose. Because you mentioned it there, everyone forgiven. So let's just break this down from Sami Zayn's point of view. Yeah. Remember that bit where he was beating Sami Zayn up in front of his wife and kids, and she was saying, I loved you. But then, yeah, exactly. But even without an apology, which is not even for himself. Not even for himself. He asked it for Jay. Sami Zayn's all right with this now. I don't want to be telegraphing, right? I don't know if the plan is that Sami's going to go...
Somebody's going to turn or whatever.
Up you or something. He'd be perfectly justified to. Unless they're going really long storytelling. Well, like this attempt at a comeback just falls apart.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Right, I'm not saying, and I know there's a lot of huge Bloodline fans out there, and people are like, oh, how can you not
I like the Bloodline. I do like the Bloodline.
I love it. this might pay off. It's just right now I don't like where it's going. Who knows though? After Survivor Series or when they pull things back in Mania season, I might be going, oh, it was worth it. It might be worth it. But I just mean the story over the last few weeks has felt really rushed. It's felt really kind of like if you picture a jigsaw. I feel like they're putting the places in the wrong.
That's it. That's it. Part. See, even at the end when they all put up the finger, everyone went, hey.
I know, and it's just I couldn't believe it's like there was a bit in SmackDown. And I seen a tweet that really captured it perfectly.
Okay.
There's a bit in SmackDown. Jey Uso staring Roman Reigns in the face, and he's like, "You have mentally, physically, and emotionally tortured me."
Aye.
And Roman Reigns answers with like, "Yeet," and I'm like. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, what? After it, Jey Uso's just spilled his guts.
So here we are. Here's the company. Here's WWE in 2024, trying to go against all the things I've had before. Man. But as funny as that might be, right? I don't know, man. It
pops the crowds.
It pops the crowds. I've always said, hey, listen, at the end of the day, we're worrying about the kids and the cheering in the stands. Sometimes we can read into it a bit too much. But you're right. I think there's something off.
Yep.
And I don't know. I don't know if it's about me. I don't know if it's about what the product is. I hope it pays off for something.
I'm sure it will. Like when
I wanted the wise man.
I'm dying for this, Paul.
I wanted the wise man coming back.
Where is he?
And the only person that he could find was backup.
No.
Was his original. Like. That would have meant something different for Punk.
I know.
That would have meant something different. You know what I mean?
There's so many different things that could happen, should happen. Anyway.
Dislikes right now. Yeah. I'm afraid to say I'm putting it at the door of WWE again. I don't give a fuck about the New Day. Then I've said it.
Wow.
I don't care less.
How long have you not cared about them?
I don't care about this breakup thing because... Right. This is the thing, you go like, but it's a New Day. It's the three guys. And I went, but it's not been the three of them for a long time.
Is that over 2 years now?
It's over 2 years. So it's been a long time. And that's my problem. It's like it's these two breaking up. Might Kofi turn heel? Would I accept Kofi as a heel? Xavier Woods. I mean, again, he could realistically be the biggest babyface in the company.
I think that both of them could play the role well.
Yeah.
Whoever's heel, whoever's face. I think both of them could do it. But no, I think I get where you're coming from.
Or unless they
doesn't feel like the New Day.
Unless they came out as super heels. Super heels of the tag team division. We don't have any. The closest we had was is the Bloodline. The closest we had.
Big Authors of Pain, but they're kind of.
Yeah. Like they shouldn't be allowed to do much. You know what I mean? I like the Authors of Pain when it's a fucking stupid name. Can I just bring it back to that?
Authors of Pain.
Yeah, the Poets of Agony.
It sounds better when they just call them AOP. I don't mind that.
AOP, I don't mind. AOP, I don't mind.
Like POD, you know.
Well, I was about to say the hypocrisy of the man sitting here who wants to call the tag team the personification of destruction. POD as well, but I changed it to POD very fast. Very fast.
But New Day.
Fuck, do we predate? I doubt it. I was about to say, do we predate? But then there's a Legion of Doom, so I could shut up there. So I'm not invested.
I get you.
Because without Big E there, maybe Big E needs to become a part of it.
Well, it seems like it might be building to that. The whole 10, I hope so. The 10th year anniversary of the New Day, I think, in like 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's all leading to this like 10th year anniversary, they're about to fall out, and then next thing you know, Big E marches down.
I mean, that'd be great. That'd be awesome in its own way. It'd be a great pop. But then where does it go?
Yeah.
I mean, for me...
It's not as if he's going to be wrestling again.
If Big E cannot wrestle, then put him in the chair for colour stuff. Mm-hmm. Do something like that with him. Aye. People love him. Do that. That'd be great. I'm not bothered about the New Day.
Do you know what? I can kind of agree with you, because every time I stay up to watch Raw or watch it the next morning, I kind of find myself glancing at my phone whenever they're on the screen. It's they've kind of played it out for too long as well.
It feels like it's been played out.
It's like every week they're falling out or something, but then they're still together the next week. So I'm like, right, if you're going to split them up, split them up.
So that's why I'm done with the New Day.
You're done with the New Day, which is such a totally natural.
God, I'm trying to think what my other thing was. I've actually forgotten. God, what was my other thing that I was really getting pissed about?
Bring it back, come on, you've got it.
Was it
WWE related? Was it TNA related?
I've got it. Yes,
you've got it.
So the other thing I'm pissed off about, right? My dislike says, why won't WWE just let Billy Ray dress as Billy Ray? I get it. The ECW thing, you were back there, the Dudleys.
Do you know what? Funnily, it's funny you mention this because when he came out at NXT,
yeah,
I was like, why is he still dressed like this?
Why is he still dressed like this?
I knew that you bring it up, but I was like, I actually did think about this.
It's been pissing me off for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they never pulled the trigger with Bully Ray, and apparently he pitched it.
I'm so annoyed that between the years of like 2000 and like the late 2000s and like even the late 2010s that he never had like a solo run in WWE.
Just the Bully Ray run's been brilliant.
I know. It's
you know,
nuts.
and even now he's still kind of, despite the fact Bubba must be in his mid-50s or whatever, he's still kind of kicking ass with the gimmick.
He is somebody that I think could actually do pretty well in NXT, even if it's like no being there every single week, even if he like turns up for like a match every in 3 months.
Give him one of these young boys that seems a bit lost, is it Jensen Brooks?
Oh,
give him somebody like them.
Brooks Jensen.
I knew I was going to do that.
There you go.
I knew I was going to do that. But give him those guys and be the arsehole matriarch of them. I just think it'd be good, man. And the fact that they've never managed to. So, like, every time I see him dressed up as one of the Dudleys, I do go, I wonder, did Billy Ray, does it kill him inside a wee bit?
It's the camel.
Yeah.
The whole
He's
life
obviously
through.
very proud of it and quite right
course,
to be.
Should be.
So when the phone call comes, but even when he came out WrestleMania, please welcome our special guest referee, Bubba Ray. And it's like,
that was a lovely surprise, by the way, because obviously I was there.
Oh, you were there?
Not expecting it at all. So when it was like, it's like the special guest referee. I was like, what? And then Bubba came. I was like, that's good.
First thing I thought was, geez, he's lost a lot of weight again. That's all I could think.
But no, I would have loved to seen. Like, even, I'm so sad that, it wasn't like they were amazing, they weren't revolutionary, but I wish that they had like a Aces and Eights type thing in WWE. Like, there was a missed opportunity there.
They need heels, man.
Aye. Oh, they do. It's nuts because people are already asking the question, like, who does Cody fight next?
We
don't know.
They need heels, and they need to be starting that down in NXT.
Aye.
They really, really do. And if you're not going to bring guys up to the main roster, and I totally understand that, but somebody like a Bubba Ray who could still do well in tag matches, could probably, and just let them do their thing. There's Nunzio got like 3 minutes, right? And it's like, you could have given him 10.
Aye.
You could have.
I knew that was going to be like 2 minutes long as soon as he walked
still, you could have given him 10. Fuck me, did he look skinny?
He's he's so skinny, but like, I seen people like body shaming him. I'm like, that man is like 53.
That man's 53.
I would kill to be in that shape at 53.
Yeah. So, I did like it. I really.
That's a good list, though. That's 2 good things that I did not expect the other day. That
really pissed me off.
I'm inclined to agree with.
And there's nothing worse than when it makes your heart sink a wee bit. You go,
Aye. And it must, especially for that sounds terrible. I was about to call you an old bastard, but
yeah, mate, that's fine.
You got to experience like Bubba. I was like Bubba, like at his best.
Yeah, man.
Like and the
totally.
I mean, the Bubba that I grew up with was like.
Yeah, you know, you've got to go back and look at some of the good stuff.
I know exactly.
And saying that, it's quite cool because, like, one of the good things about being a wee bit older is you get it. Like, the best thing is when stuff evolves. Right? I don't like people doing the same stuff.
Oh, of course,
and like it really just angers me.
Aye.
So I got to see Bubba Ray, and even when Team 3D went to TNA, I wasn't that into it, but I wished them all the best. But then I got to see him become Billy Ray, and I fucking loved Billy Ray. It was so good. Such a departure. It was so different. Even when they were doing the Aces and Eights and Brother Ray or whatever he was called in TNA. I can't remember. They changed the name a wee bit, didn't they? I can never remember. I can never remember what it was called. But even those guys had a different kind of chemistry, and it's like, I think I've seen enough for the Dudleys.
Well, I mean, I think they're well and truly done now anyway, because I think Devon is like
Devon
finished.
Yeah,
he's just finished.
I think he's just unable to, like. I think they worked one match this year, and he didn't look like
could not move.
He could barely move.
Could not move.
Give him, let him retire.
I always keep forgetting that you had you've called a Dudley's match, haven't you?
I have called a Dudley's match. One of the so I called what I thought was one of the last Dudley's match we were ever going to see.
Aye.
Just before they went back, and then they went back to WWE.
I know, it's like nuts, like because they just left WWE and then went back. I was trying to figure this out because they came back in 2015.
Yeah, so this was just before they went back.
Aye.
So it was them versus the Polos, and I will admit, wasn't Look, this is all about truth. This is nothing to do with like ICW or anything like that. Not one of my favourites. Not one of my favourites.
I was there, but I don't
remember much about it. I don't remember much about it.
In fact, it was only the other day I was trying to make a list of what wrestler I've seen like the most times live, and I was going through every event that I've been to, and I go into the Fear and Loathing with the Dudleys one, and I was like, I've seen the Dudleys. I forgot about that. Just not in the memory.
It hasn't stayed.
The
I know that the all I can remember is that the Pole Promotions had a great match the following year versus the Marauders, which is much better.
Aye.
I really enjoyed that. I really liked the Marauders as a tag team.
Talking about things you like.
Yes.
It's time to talk about things we like in wrestling.
Oh, right. Well, kick us off then. What have you got?
I'll start with just an obvious one I want to get out of the way, and then I'll try and think of something a wee bit more niche.
Okay.
I'm going to start with Gunter.
Aye.
Just love him.
Showing a little bit of is he though? Is he showing a little bit of fear in the ring now?
I think that's good. I think that's good because I think that heels should have that kind of cowardly side to them. Yeah. Like, you know, they're humans at the end of the day. They should be scared of the big face that is Damian Priest.
Yeah,
I like that, and I like that they're adding a wee bit more character, a wee bit more depth to Gunter. But in my opinion, in terms of in ring, I don't think there's anybody better in the world than him right now.
I think he's fantastic. I think he could. It's mad to think. I've called the Gunter match as well.
Yeah, that's right.
The Gunter match as well.
I was there. I was at Shug's the second night that year when he was on the first night.
He was on the first night.
I couldn't make it the first night, and I was raging.
Gutted he wasn't on both.
Yep.
Gutted he wasn't on both. But no, I've been a fan of his back from when he was Volta.
Yep.
And it's weird to think that I'd actually seen him in a couple of other things like years and years ago before I even realised who the fuck he was. Like every now and then you'll say, oh fuck, that was a Volta match. No, I've been a big fan of his, and I mean he's got himself into fantastic shape, which is probably, it's funny, someone said that, oh, he's just sick of looking like a fat cunt. That's what I saw someone say in the comments. But it also meant like, well, you see, the thing is, if you look after your car engine, it will run a bit longer. Mm-hmm. So he probably wants like another 10 years, and he could. And
I think I'm pretty sure there was an interview somewhere with him where he spoke about why he'd done it and why he got himself into that shape. And I think I might be making this up, or somebody else might have said it. Maybe somebody was talking about him. But basically, like, you know, WWE have had a track record for guys like that and releasing them. Like you think of Keith Lee, for example, who was great, but he didn't look like a wrestler, you know, and that maybe went against him in the eyes of the old owner.
I have a controversial opinion on Keith Lee.
Oh, do you? It might be the same as me. I don't know. What's your opinion?
Not that impressed.
Nah, same. I'm not a Keith Lee fan either. This is a good podcast. This would just think
and I want to make this clear. I wanted to be.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd seen a little bit of the stuff he'd done in Dragon Gate. I'd seen a little bit of bits and bobs. But then once you've seen it. Like, realistically, was Bearcat Keith Lee better than Limitless Keith Lee? Probably. Probably with more potential. There, I'm going to say it.
I was never huge on him, but it was guys like that who in the past have shown like, oh, we can be great in ring, but then the ownership were like, well, you need to be in shape, and I think that's why Gunter got himself into that shape, and now he's a world champion because
now he's a world champion, and you think about it, that guy, face or heel, is going to do amazing.
Unreal, because you've even seen matches where the crowd have treated him as a face, and
he does not sell it. Does not sell it.
I love him. And his promos when he just calls people bums and whatever. I love that shit.
You think if Gunter, and I'm a massive CM Punk fan, you know that anyway. But if CM Punk versus Gunter, and Gunter just smashed the shit out of him for 20 minutes and then pinned him, you would accept it.
Oh yeah, that's the only time I would accept it.
to the point that you would want to see the rematch.
Aye.
Like, you really want to see the rematch.
I thought that's what they were going to do with Drew. I thought they were going to have Drew just beat the living shit out of CM Punk at SummerSlam, like kill him basically. And then you want rematch.
I like the way they did it.
Yeah,
I did like the way they did it. But, what else are you into then?
Here's my niche thing, and I'm going to stick up for somebody who takes too much abuse here.
Please do.
And I like where it's going. I am currently liking the idea of Karrion Kross and his faction against the Wyatts. Even though we were talking about AOP earlier on, and we were saying, I'd really like Karrion Kross, and I think he gets it stinking.
I like Karrion Kross. I've liked Karrion Kross since he was given that. I mean, see when they first came into NXT, you were like, fucking look at this.
Exactly, aye.
Look at the big
menacing.
Oh, they brought Scarlet in. Oh, it's taking away the glow. What the fuck are you talking about? Look at this big guy.
I agree.
He has never been presented this well. Ever.
I love the efforts he's gone to on social media as well.
And I mean, this is a guy that improved his promo game, his physical game. I hope that people play. We're talking about New Day earlier. I mean, folk didn't give a fuck about the New Day.
Oh, for months.
You didn't give a fuck about the New Day.
Even I remember it got to so when they debuted at the end of 2014 as a team, and even when it got to WrestleMania 31, which was in 2015.
Yeah.
People still weren't really
that bothered.
It wasn't until maybe the month or so after that.
Yeah.
And that was 5-6 months.
Yeah. Stick. And I know that it feels like the Testament have had a year. Stick with them.
Aye.
I don't think they've got the mix right quite yet.
Well, I think that's why they've maybe, and I feel sorry for old Paul, but I think that's maybe him gone.
You think?
I think that's why they've wrote him off TV. Probably to just because I like Paul Ellering, but what is the need in a 70-year-old man cutting about with that team when they've already got Scarlett?
Well, I believe
two people doing the same role.
I believe he is legitimately the AOP's handler.
Oh yeah,
he is literally their manager.
Right. As in they're full on
very old school, managing everything for them and all that type of thing, which is a good thing to have. I should imagine.
Of course.
I don't think they've ever let the AOP. It's a little bit of insight. Right? Uh-huh. So I remember sitting with I don't want to pull the curtain back too far. So I was sitting with the guy that was responsible for the OP kind of getting signed in their early training. Right. So people could probably figure out who that is, but it's not a particularly big name, but an important name within the NXT system. Okay. Right.
I think I know you.
You might know who it is.
I do.
So green is the phrase he used, and I never felt that it's all come together for them.
Yeah,
they should be the big monster tag team, and I kind of feel like they don't need to be in the Final Testament.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to the day where Karrion Kross gets to be himself again because I think he's getting himself over, which is good. Yeah, people talk about social media being a kind of double-edged sword. Yeah, you use it. And you use it well, it does you good. Yeah. But then people turn very quickly. People loved what Dijak was doing on social media. And then within months, the same people are like, oh, I'm fed up with him being on social media because...
Fucking Big Dijak's one that is like, how did you fuck that up?
I know. So Karrion Kross is doing it. I love that fucking video where Scarlett walking into the room and she's like, oh, they've got Miz. And he's like, how long have they had him? A couple of hours. Oh, he's dead by now.
Yeah, I love that.
It's great.
I love that stuff.
So I'm loving Karrion. That's my second like for now.
I like that.
I'm looking forward to see where it goes.
All right. Things that I'm into just now. I'm going to say I am really enjoying TNA wrestling.
Oh yeah,
right. So I think everyone has been back in the bandwagon with TNA now for about a year and a half, 2 years.
I'm kind of shooting in and out.
Yeah, so the Scott D'Amore era, folk are really into that. Love Scott D'Amore for the record. I just kind of like what the man does. I know he's no longer involved, but I'm into TNA just now. It's not just the Joe Hendry show. We're going to come back to Joe, I'm sure, at some point. But I'm just really enjoying it from the top of the card to the bottom of the card. I am a little worried that they're about to lose a bunch of people.
Well, it looks like that's happening.
Yeah. I mean, Jordan Grace is. I mean,
she's signed.
she's on her way out. And how can she not be?
And I think Joe's kind of hinted at maybe.
If the signature were in the right place. Yeah. I'm really enjoying TNA from top to bottom. I think they make good use of legends. I think they make good use of some of the guys that are a bit more established. I like the system. Never quite got Sami Callihan.
I've never been a huge Sami Callihan man either. What I will say about TNA is I would love to see, and I know money's a big thing, right? Yeah, obviously you can't expect a professional wrestler to turn up money. But I really like the route that Nick Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler, took. Everybody's like, oh, he's going to be in AEW. He's going to go AEW. He's going to be there. He's going to be there. And then, bang, he shows up in TNA. I would love more wrestlers to do that. But from both sides, if somebody from AEW was to leave AEW and people go, oh, well, he's going to go to WWE, I would love to see them throw that red herring and be like, I'm here. I
think the Hardys are being used better in TNA.
I agree.
Nick Nemeth, I mean, it's like that guy's doing stuff for New Japan and he's getting really out there. And I don't know Nick's financial situation, but I imagine he's doing all right.
It must be. It was like WWE for life, or it looked
Yeah,
like it must have been a good contract.
I'd imagine he's doing all right. And he's still making money, and he's still doing good, and he's still turning heads. I think he's great. So I'm going to come on to another indie guy.
Is this your second like?
That's my second like.
I love how I'm just like, I like WWE.
No. Well, it's all par. It's all par.
Aye.
I've got to say, I love me a bit of Matt Cardona.
Oh,
I love me.
Well,
For lots of different reasons, right? I admire the man's diversity. I admire the fact that he can work heel there, he can work with that company there, he can do all that type of thing. No nonsense online. He's a bit of an inspirational character to somebody in terms of he cuts it here. Like, whenever someone gets released and it's a big name and people are in shock, he's the first one to go, you're about to have the most fun in your life as long as you do the work.
Aye.
So I like Matt Cardona. I don't see a situation of him going back to WWE.
Well, this is the point of the podcast.
Is this an exclusive?
Well, not an exclusive. No, I was about to say
You've signed him. No.
I'm not a huge Cardona guy.
That's fine.
That's why I like these podcasts.
That's fine.
And it's not. I think he's good, right? But I don't think he's as good as what he thinks. He is.
Well, I'll come back to that. So I think he is aware of his limitations.
Yeah.
And that's why he overcompensates.
Well, see, I've had this conversation
because what you're buying is you're buying the presentation of Matt Cardona.
Yeah, I get it.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
see, his whole shtick is like, he's talking about how he'd love to go back to WWE or he'd love to go AEW and he thinks he can offer so much, blah, blah, blah. Even though, like, he probably knows deep down and he won't say it because I think it's his character that is to be like, no, I'm the fucking best and I should be there. And that's the whole point of the character. So even though he probably knows deep down that, like, oh, so many guys better than me, younger than me, whatever, but it's the character to present himself that way.
And he's doing that so he makes like $2 or $3 grand a weekend.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And probably if Matt was watching, it's probably more than that. I don't know, because in terms of his merch sales and all that. So I admire the hustle.
Yeah.
And I think somebody like him probably influences like a Joe Hendry.
Yeah.
So I just think, I mean, I would, again, where would I put him in NXT? Where would I put him if he came back to WWE? Would I put him in NXT? Mm-hmm. Hey, if you're going to put him in AEW, you got to give him like a top heel slot, man. You need to fucking shift the top of that bastard guard.
It's that way where if he comes back to WWE, is there enough casuals now and enough new fans now to just like completely forget that he used to be this jobber?
You're gonna have. Well, you look at Cody.
Yeah,
I guess look at Cody. If you're going to bring somebody like a Matt Cardona back, it needs to be Matt Cardona.
Yeah. No, it can't be Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder's dead.
Yeah,
he's in a canal.
And I was never a huge fan. I mean, he got basically cocked by John Cena. You're never fucking getting back from that, Matt. There's no two way. I mean, what
wheeled off a ramp?
Could he could his girlfriend suck John Cena's balls at the top of the ramp at Monday Night Raw, and I would have been like, we're just best pals. Fuck off. Get fucked.
I completely forgot about the Eve Torres part of that whole story.
Yeah, exactly.
I completely forgot that.
Exactly. So I haven't, and I just think I remember going, who am I cheering for?
Yeah.
Who is the person? And that is. Well, that's very Vince McMahon booking.
I say that I'm not a huge Cardona guy, but I guarantee you if he ended up back in one of the on-screen promotions where you were watching him every week, whether it was AEW, WWE, I'd probably really like him.
I'd love that.
I think that I just get kind of deterred from him a little bit because all I see is online clips and stuff.
Yeah, no, I can get that.
I'd love to see him on a screen again.
He's one of those guys that I find that I'm just kind of rooting for.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Of course, I root for most.
So, something I wanted to talk about next was people are always talking about WWE opening up these like development areas and all that. They talk of WWE Japan. They still talk about WWE Europe.
Somebody's asked a question.
Oh, have they? All right. Okay.
Actually,
well, plenty to say. Plenty to say.
I think there's one of my loyal YouTube viewers who's asked, I think especially because you're here, they want to hear your opinions on the whole WWE ID thing, so we'll get on to that later.
Wow, right, okay.
We'll get on to that later.
But I was always thinking, like, what if WWE were Scottish, right? This is a bit silly, but imagine, like, so we are just making all the superstars currently in WWE Scottish. How ridiculous and nightmarish would it be?
See, there's a thing in my head where it's like, I have seen the American wrestlers come over here and try the accent so many times that puts me off the idea of WWE ever trying anything Scottish at all.
I remember, but before apparently they were a big thing in America, we had self-service checkouts. I took a Rhino to get some food from the Tesco at Silverburn.
So Rhino's been in Tesco.
And I just remember like I'm getting whatever I was getting and looking over and there's Rhino trying to and just thinking like, well, that's something I never thought I'd see in my life. Do you know what I mean? It's just like he's just like
Rhino in Tesco.
I have no idea. And I think he was buying like, I'm not even making this up. I think he was buying like a pepperami and a gatto.
I was because it's Slim Jim's there, isn't it?
Yeah. He's put like pepperami and a gatto and pure, may I say, putting a charm offensive off the wee woman that's scanning it. And I think is kind of like, look at the size of this guy. Who's this?
I hope he wasn't wearing shorts.
He was wearing shorts. He was wearing shorts.
People must have been looking at the legs like.
Oh, do you know? He only did a couple of shots for us, but he was always really nice and always came up and said hi. Just a pro of pros.
But if WWE was Scottish,
oh my goodness, the Rock would be ruined.
Oh, aye.
Just imagine, I'm the final boss.
Oh, God,
I'm the final boss. Just think of those iconic promos.
Aye, it would just wouldn't work with it. Like, you were talking about the. Do you smell what I'm cooking?
Is he cooking again? Fucking hell! I better not be a gangsters. You'll sting the place out.
I was thinking about the Big Show. Like he would have had the Hornswoggle go on the side like the Wee Show and Big Show. That would be a thing.
Look at this big cunt.
You know, like, well, it's the big cunt.
It's the big cunt show. Why has nobody done that gimmick? Why has nobody done that gimmick?
Get Big Colton. He was Andrew the Giant. It's time to be the big cunt.
We've got the show side for next year.
But oh man, I mean Scottish Vince McMahon.
Oh my goodness,
where do you even begin with that?
Oh, dude, that would be Tommy Sheridan or something like that. I've just got one mind constantly thinking about pumping. Just constantly thinking about ramming it in. That's all I think about.
Because I can hear it in my head, man. It's like there's a specific. You might know he's familiar, right? But there's like a podcast clip for 2020, and Tommy Sheridan was on a Celtic podcast, and Celtic were in the absolute shit, right? We were obviously doing so badly during COVID, and it's this clip. I'm like, we've got Big Shane Duffy. We'll be fine. Get behind Lenny, and everybody's like, shut the fuck up. We are fucking 20 points behind Rangers, and he's the worst player Shane Duffy that I've ever seen. And you're telling me no? Aye, so
iconic Vince McMahon's moments. It was me, a plum. It was me, a wee dick. It was me, Austin.
Like the Scottish Undertaker. I mean, like that's like something for the cat house, eh?
Right now, there was a Twitter feed called Scottish Undertaker at one point, right?
Really?
Yes. And I got accused repeatedly of being Scottish Undertaker.
See, now that you say it, it's ringing a bell.
Because there was like a bunch of jokes, right? So jokes that I'd made, like wrestling jokes over the years, apparently a couple of them had turned up.
Right,
on that. But I can tell you right now, they were not me.
Oh, definitely.
It was definitely not me.
Just a fan.
It was just a fan. And I thought, and if Scottish Undertaker is out there, I fucking loved Scottish Undertaker. I loved it. Just he was always just moan. I mean, Scottish Undertaker going to the catty. I just love the idea.
That would be part of WWE if it was Scottish.
You open up the urn, he's just reaching in, getting out handfuls of stovies,
drinking out the urn. Like that's like, you know, you get a fishbowl. Like that's the Scottish fishbowl.
Oh my god!
Or the Undertaker's fishbowl.
What current stars could we have? Rhea Ripley would be about like, I'm not saying this to be a dick, but I'm going to say it should be about 60 pounds heavier.
You're no wrong. You're no wrong. I honestly,
fucking hell.
Grunt shakes.
Steady on. I'm just a mad guy. I mean, don't get me wrong. Still, every single shade of pumpable.
And Drew McIntyre would still have the accent. He wouldn't even have his.
Oh my god!
He'd still have the accent.
Just flown in from Narnia. Everyone's got a Drew impression. I love him.
I love Drew.
I used to do impressions of Drew advertising things. They just went like, hello, it's me, Drew Galloway. I love to get busy with the fizzy. So why don't you get SodaStream? There's your way, there's my way, and there's the Galloway. And I used to get it through drives, man.
Have you ever seen this is so off topic, right? But just because you're bringing up Scottish people doing adverts, have you ever seen Chris Boyd's advert when he was in America?
No.
So what
you mean Sir Chris? Oh, no, you mean the footballer. Sorry,
Chris
I beg your
Boyd,
pardon.
yeah. Chris Hoy.
Yeah, I was thinking so.
No, Chris Boyd, right, who is obviously famous for his media jobs now, right? He wasn't very good under a camera so he moved to Portland Timbers in America, right? He played for Portland Timbers, and I think it was
that makes me feel better about some of the shittier gigs I've done.
And he was doing an advert for a mattress company, I think it is, and I can't remember like what the line, but he's like, it's like having your cake and eating it all at the one time. Get your mattress now. It's so bad. You need to go and Google it.
I had a story, right, that when he was at Kilmarnock, right, so apparently he was giving a couple of the young team like a lift.
Aye.
And somehow he'd left like the speak thing on his phone on, and it gave an update of what his bank account had in it. It's like, you have 2.5 million, and it was like, fuck off, fuck off.
That is the least surprising thing I've ever heard about.
I had to say this, like, because briefly, like, I had a tie-in with Kilmarnock when I did the radio show down there, and I had to be really nice about it. I love Kilmarnock, for the record. Kilmarnock FC I have no problem with. I've never liked Chris Boyd.
Good. We share that in common.
And he watched me die in my hole once at the Cream of Ayrshire Awards. I absolutely die in my fucking hoop. But what you need to know is this very simple. That was a man that did not want to be there in the first place.
But that's another thing about WWE if it was Scottish. There are so many Scottish personalities that could probably, not necessarily say Chris Boyd, but people would thrive in that environment, I think.
Do you know how we never managed to get Ali McCoist in a celebrity tag team match?
I am stunned that he never showed up in some capacity, like Clash in the Castle. Like,
just something like that. Just a booth, a bunch.
I think, if I remember right.
And they could bring him out to AC/DC.
Yeah, exactly. Finally. But I remember Drew said, like, he would love Ali McCoist to be there. And I remember thinking to myself, because I was a Celtic fan, I was like, Christ, Ali McCoist, I hope he doesn't show up. And then I'm pretty sure there was a big game on that weekend. He was down south commentating. I was like, right,
I'd be working.
He's not going to be there.
He'd be working.
He's not going to be there. But there's so many personalities.
I guess it would be that one thing, like, I don't know, could you get like a Rangers and Celtic personality sitting next to each other?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And who would you get? So you got Ali. Let's say we got Ali.
I mean, back in the day, it would have been like Tommy Burns, but he's obviously no longer with us because they were good mates.
Yeah. You need an iconic person sitting next to him.
I don't know what. I was going to say Neil Lennon. Scott Brown.
Could do that.
Get Brownie there.
I saw Neil Lennon walking down the street the other day. He looked raging.
As always.
And a level way, it was that thing, like, I know he's been a footballer and all that type of thing, but I walked past him and I went, I might be in better shape than you now.
Listen, 100%. 100%.
He did it well.
The last time he played in a charity game for Celtic, he whited on the side.
Oh my God, he looked like he got a big turnip head.
Oh,
big red turnip head.
He's not a fortunate looking fella.
Well, there you go, all the best, man.
Get him there, get him in WWE.
Right, a couple of things I want to talk about, right? Very briefly, we've touched on it. The Vince McMahon documentary, right? Because anyone that's not been involved with wrestling, this is a good brief thing to talk about in the first episode, right? Anyone that's not been involved in wrestling, like the number of people that I have messaged me going, just watch that Vince McMahon documentary.
Same.
Or maybe they were lapsed wrestling fans.
Aye.
Now, here's the horrible thing. For a lot of us, we were kind of like, well, a lot of this we'd heard.
Oh, it was like nothing new.
A lot of this, like, you'd heard of the Ring Boy scandal, which I didn't know a lot about.
That's probably the only thing that I never really knew a lot about.
Yep.
To be honest, wasn't entirely aware that it happened.
A lot of it seems to be conjecture as well, so you got to be... But hey, listen,
use the word allegedly.
I hope the right people get their comeuppance for these horrible deeds. But every time, one of the things that did make me laugh about it, but for all the wrong reasons, is that every time Vince McMahon came on the screen, you practically heard a WWE lawyer going, "Oh no."
I always felt sorry for Triple H and whoever else, like Nick Khan watching it, like. They must be thinking, the share price is going to fall. Fucking Jesus. Dear. But do you not think he looks like shit? And I know this was filmed a couple of years ago, but Vince, he looks like he is melting. Vince
looks like he needs to retire.
He looks as though he needs to
see that match he worked at WrestleMania a few years ago. It's 38. Like, what are you doing?
And he's wanting to start a new company.
He's not going to do it.
He's wanting to start an entertainment company with people that used to work in WWE. So I'm assuming that means Kevin Dunn.
Yeah. I don't think Vince McMahon wants to do wrestling anymore.
No, so this is the whole thing is it's meant to be entertainment. I don't know what that means.
You kind of don't want to know what
it could be Vince. Adult entertainment with Vince.
Oh God, Jesus, God!
But like rest, he looks like he's lit. And then when he dyed his hair black, and he had that piss moustache.
Like you turned up at the stock exchange looking like fucking Gomez Adams.
Like, just leave it. You're 80-year-old, man. Like, just give it a rest. But the documentary was like, yeah, for us, we were watching it like, right, okay, it's Vince. And it was still good. It was well put together. It was a
great documentary. Stephanie had one really bad moment in it when it was like, oh, no, that's...
25 people in my group chats, like my two mate group chats, about 25 of us all together. And every single one of them was putting in messages like, mate, I can't believe Vince done this. And I'm like... I can. I can. I've seen it on live television.
And the thing is, so where we are now, and only the last couple of days, there's apparently been more names that have come forward and all that type of thing. It's like, oh, Jesus.
I think that list is going to be never ending before he dies.
I think he's gonna be done before it's done.
Yeah, aye.
I think it's. I don't wish anyone to pass or anything like that. Of course, I don't. But it's like fucking hell, Vince.
Aye, he's got.
Wait, here's the thing. I don't think one thing you could level out is all. I don't think anyone ever thought he was a good guy.
No, that's the thing. Like, I have always said the same thing about Vince McMahon. I'm grateful for what he gave us in terms of wrestling. Wouldn't be wrestling, right? So there has got to be a part of you as a wrestling fan that goes, hell, I've got a bit of respect for that. But then you look past the respect sort of thing, and you're like, he's an absolute scumbag.
And the thing is, if anyone's going to level that, well, I can't follow someone like that. I think that's ridiculous. Okay, what about all the people that just voted for Donald Trump and the people they voted for here in the UK? We're just going to have to skip straight on past that bastard.
Just for the record, actually, I've not had the chance.
Did you vote Donald Trump?
No. But ICW's Great Halloween Bash, I actually dressed as Donald Trump,
which I loved.
For the record, I would like to announce that I would never in a million years have voted for Donald Trump.
No, never ever. I don't know who I would have voted for, to be honest, but not Donald Trump.
Anybody.
Pretty confident on that. So the documentary itself is brilliantly put together. It's certainly worth a watch. You might come away going like, I think a lifelong wrestling fan is going to go like, oh, this shit again.
Yeah.
Like, I've got to defend myself.
Like, it got to the... Like, you get to some of the stuff that you just hear about. Do you know what one really... Actually, I got to the Montreal screw job, and I'm like, oh my God, I've seen this so many times. I'm like, Brett, love you, mate. Respect the hell out of you. But I've heard you cry about it one too many times.
You've let this go. You've apparently let this go 2 or 3 times. So you've either let it go or you fucking haven't.
He's definitely not let it go.
He's definitely not let it go.
Chance
and then the only way you'll get him off the topic, it's like Matt Gran. Like, the only way you'll get him off the topic is if you mentioned something else to distract him, like, oh, the fucking Montreal school job. What about Goldberg, Granny? Don't get me started.
Exactly.
Don't get me started.
Exactly. I must admit, my favourite part of the documentary, though, I think, was Bret Hart, in terms of just his dry wit. Because that's the thing, Bret is a boring old man. Like, he's just
he is funny, though.
He's a dry, boring old man, but it's the one-liners he comes out with. Like, there's just that... There's like a scene where they're talking about Sean and Bret, I'm sure. It might not be Sean. And it just skips to Bret, and he's sitting there on his high horse like, I was a true artist. And then it goes away, and it's just a one line. I'm like, so full of himself. I love it.
It did make me go back and watch a whole bunch of Bret Hart stuff.
Yeah,
and I did actually find myself go like, he was did good though.
Because there's a clip that lives online of me. Shout out to my good friend. I say good friend. A good man. I don't know if you're aware of Fraser Potter from Cultaholic.
Yes.
So Fraser, I bumped into Fraser in London when I was at Money in the Bank, and he asked if me and my mate Scott could participate in one of those TikToks where it's like they ask a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
So there's a clip that lives online of me. It's your most controversial wrestling opinion.
Wow.
And my most controversial wrestling opinion at the time was that Bret Hart is overrated, and the comment section was so nasty to me. So nasty to me. But I don't agree.
I think I've even seen that clip.
Have you?
I think I've seen that clip.
Yeah,
I seem to recall.
That was my controversial opinion. And at the time, I agreed with it wholeheartedly, but as time has went on, I've watched more Bret, and I'm like, no, he was so good.
He was good.
He's just not an entertainer like Sean was in that sense. Like, he was a wrestler. He wasn't a sports entertainer.
I mean, they did have things in common. They both threw it up, Sonny.
That's right.
So, you know.
Right. Well, Bret allegedly...
allegedly threw it up, Sonny.
Yeah. You got to remember the allegedly. I think he did. But Vince.
I think he did. But okay, I was just saying it. I'm pretty confident I think he did.
This podcast is going to have a cease and desist before it's even got anywhere.
Yes. So we're talking about adding some regular features on the show. Yes. One of them we come up with a rebooker to where you take a moment in wrestling history and you rebook it, or maybe something that never ever happened. Could be anything. For me, it's my turn this week, and I've picked quite a controversial. Well, not controversial. This is something the Bushwhackers winning the WWE World Tag Team Championships. Now, bear with me, right? And I'm going to try and surmise this one. We'll make it a more regular thing.
I'm excited.
We'd love for you guys to set us challenges, one or both.
Yeah,
or
that's a good idea.
We'll take it on if you think there's a storyline. We'd love to rebook it. We're not like the other people that rebook things on YouTube and stuff like that, and then nasty stuff comes out about them on the internet. I don't know whoever they may be.
Who's that?
Who might that be? But I've picked the Bushwhackers winning the World Tag Team Championships. Now, the reason for this is they came into WWF as a very family-friendly act. The Bushwhackers, Luke and Butch, had been the sheep herders, bloodthirsty, ruthless, dangerous tag team all across Europe, all around the planet for years and years and years. Elder statesmen, they got offered this family-friendly gimmick. Yeah, the wacky. There was a bit when America seemed to go like Australia and New Zealand daft.
Aye.
Just absolutely daft. Crocodile Dundee, all that kind of stuff.
What's his name? Steve Irwin.
All that kind of stuff. So those guys came in, they got that gimmick. So this is what I am suggesting, right? So they came in, they were massive when they came in. Yeah. Absolutely huge.
That's the thing, is it's like I'll never truly understand the Bushwhackers. Yeah. Like, because that was long before.
Yeah, way time. Before. But realistically, slightly before mine as well.
Basically, all I get given about the Bushwhackers is the clip of them constantly. You know, that's basically it. That's how I know the Bushwhackers.
But the thing is, you never saw a Bushwhackers match where people weren't into it. They loved them. They made people care about them. They loved them. You never see a boring Bushwhackers match. In fact, there's a match between them, unbelievably, against the Natural Disasters at SummerSlam 91, which is really entertaining. Yeah, like, you think they're going to beat they're going to beat the Natural Disasters who were on their way to tag titles.
Yep.
But anyway, so the idea is this simple. We revert from the Bushwhackers to the Sheepherders. We can still call them the Bushwhackers. They're beloved, licking kids' heads and all that type of thing. They get a shot at the Hart Foundation and the Tag Team Championships. It's a regular Bushwhackers match. But what happens is after they hit the heart attack, poor Luke is down. And Luke is hurt. But they manage to get to their feet, and it's handshakes all round. And it's agreed, you know what, we got to do this. We got to do this one more time. We got one more time because the Bushwhackers have never had tag team gold here in ICW. Wouldn't it be great to take it back to New Zealand? Then the rematch takes place, and the Bushwhackers once again come up on the losing streak. But this time, for some reason, they've taken it personally. We never got to know much about Luke and Butch apart from them being the Bushwhackers and being family-friendly guys. And after the match, they kick the living shit out of the Hart Foundation. And I mean something that you wouldn't necessarily see in 1990 and 1990 work. They get chairs.
Do we see colour?
They get chairs, they get tables. There might even be some colour. Like, we get to see the Bushwhackers completely turn it on their heads. Completely turn it on these heads. Butch gets on and cuts a very short but almost... I'll say Neanderthal-like promo in terms of like, we don't give a crap about these stinking fans. We came to America to make gold, to make money, goddammit! And we have to deal with these two. Bang! Bret Hart's on his way out. Jim the Anvil Neidhart, it says he's going around being one of the toughest men. We were spilling blood across the planet way before the Fart Foundation. Why do we call that? The Fart Foundation. Even laced their boots.
Got to get a bit of the 80s in there by calling the Fart Foundation.
We were down spilling blood on your daddy's company, Brett, when you were in diapers.
You fought this a lot.
And you're going to be standing in the way of our tag team gold. So that's it. We revert to the sheepherders in terms of just being ruthless, hated. And they get the shot at the Hart Foundation, and they manage. And I think we'll call it a Canadian street fight because Brett and Neidhart. Hey, listen, we just beat Demolition. We beat one of the best tag teams. 2 out of 3 falls, the greatest tag team. You ain't taking these titles away from us. And they do it in a Canadian street fight match, and the Bushwhackers take the belts.
Got the gold.
So I am bringing the breakup of the Hart Foundation forward a year.
Yes.
I'm bringing it up forward a year because here's the thing, right? Jim Neidhart wasn't great.
God rest him.
Great as a tag team, great in the Hart Foundation, but it wasn't great.
Right, okay.
And as much as I really liked the Nasty Boys, who would be a great tag team to put up against the Bushwhackers, they ain't going to have the titles long, because round about 91, 92 is when the Bushwhackers really start getting toned down, phased out.
Right.
So I think we've got to give them, and you can't give them the titles as faces.
Yeah, do you know what? I like it. I like it because the Bushwhackers are somebody who, as you said, had that history behind them.
Yeah.
And it's something that they probably should have been allowed to do at WWE at some point. But look, listen, as you've mentioned before, like they were probably just in that stage of their career where they're like, you're getting money.
Hey, listen, do you want a guaranteed contract?
No.
You sell your merchandise and all that type of thing. But one last shot to be world tag team champions.
I'm surprised. So they never were world champs in WWE. That's not.
Never even got. I think they got various shots.
You'd think that even like a short reign.
But even to make them almost semi-tweeners, if it just became personal between them and Nasty Boys. I mean, it could be the Nasty Boys that take the title. Imagine a street fight at WrestleMania between the Sheepherders and the Nasty Boys.
They could have been like the 80s, the early 90s version of like the Briscoes.
The Briscoes?
Just like fucked up faces.
Yeah.
Like nasty bastards.
Yeah.
They could have been that.
They're
I can see it.
They're nasty. So they take on the Nasty Boys. They have the tag team titles, maybe, I don't know, Survivor Series through to WrestleMania. If the Hart Foundation break up, Brett starts getting into the Intercontinental scene a wee bit earlier. They take on the super heels of the Nasty Boys, maybe even standing up, and they can revert to the cartoon characters straight after it because they stood up to the big bad Hart Foundation. But they need to get the shot, they can't win it as a face.
It's nuts because as Hall of Famers as well, you just assume that they were tag champs, and they've never. They
were huge, but you have to ask this question: would I have rather had that happen or the babyface? Probably the babyface.
Fair enough.
But it would have been interesting to see them win the tag titles at least once.
I think that there's very few people in the history of wrestling that have just been one specific, face. Heel, whatever, for their whole careers. I think everybody deserves a chance to show us that other side at some point.
Just to make these were guys that caused riots in Puerto Rico. These are guys like, why they never maximised that at least once or twice.
I think there was a lot of misfires though. Like you think about, and even coming back to the Vince documentary we were talking about, like. And I remember there was a lot of documentaries as well on the Dark Side of the Ring that were talking about people that Vince signed in the late 80s, early 90s, and he had them do stuff that was just so different from what they got big for. And I'm like, why had he done that so many times? Because I think Vince just had a real terrible problem with... he wanted to book what he wanted to see, rather than what crowds wanted to see.
Anything else anybody had created. I mean, you think about it, even though Legion of Doom were massive, they only had a 2-year run in WWE.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and that was such a misconception of mine growing up. Was like, I always thought that Legion of Doom were like, huge WWE guys and blah blah. But that was WWE propaganda, like being like, oh no, we made these guys. No, they didn't.
No, they didn't
at all. But it was like propaganda.
It was like 2 years. 2 years they were with WWE, and then they fucked off because Hawk was a jump. So 60 seconds. What have we got for 60 seconds? You got this quiz.
We're going to do this, right? Okay, so I wanted to do this so that we have something to put on the TikTok and get wee clips and stuff in.
I love the fact you say on the TikTok.
On the TikTok. Do you know, I fucking hate TikTok.
I feel like I want to go and get you a pint at a bowling club somewhere every time you say that. Can I get a pint, sweetheart? Cheers.
Go on that TikTok later. Go review it. Anyway, so I'm going to give you 60 seconds, right?
Oh my God.
And that, do you know what? Because it's the first time we've done it, I might be generous and give you 90 seconds, right?
Okay.
I'm going to give you 90 seconds. And in that 90 seconds, you've got to ask me yes or no questions to guess the wrestler that I'm thinking of.
Oh man, this is going to be so hard.
I have got a wrestler in my head, right? And you just ask away. So people playing at home, you don't know who it is right now, but I'll put a graphic on screen telling you who the wrestler is. So they'll know now.
Coco Beware.
It's not Coco Beware. So essentially, if you ask, was he an Intercontinental Champion in WWE? I'll say yes or no, and you've got 90 seconds.
That's actually quite a good way to narrow it down.
That's the thing. That's the thing. People will know this through Santi's app. He made a living off this. So are you ready to go, Billy?
Yes, sir.
Okay, your time starts now.
Was he Intercontinental Championship in WWF, WWE?
No, he was not.
Okay, does he currently wrestle for AEW?
No.
Has he wrestled for TNA Wrestling?
Yes.
Aha, right. Would he have been a champion in TNA Wrestling?
Yes.
Has he wrestled for WWE?
Yes, he has.
Right. Does he currently wrestle for WWE?
No.
Does he currently work for WWE?
Kind of. See, this should help give it away.
Oh, no, it doesn't. Is it Big E Langston?
No, it's not
Damn
Big
it,
E.
never mind. Let me think. Oh, does he appear on the pre-shows?
Yes, sometimes.
Right, okay. Fuck, that could be. Is it Booker T?
No.
Damn, right, okay. Is it Jerry the King Lawler?
No.
All right, oh God. Oh, is it Wade? No, it can't be Wade Barrett.
30 seconds remaining.
Oh, shit, man. Is he American?
Yes.
Right, okay. Would he have wrestled for WCW?
I don't think he did.
Okay, has he been featured in the WWE games?
Yes.
All right. Oh, fucking hell, he appears in the pre-show. Fuck, I don't know everyone that appears in the pre-shows.
Not every pre-show, but he's there from time to time.
Oh, bollocks and cock! Has he held the tag team titles?
Yes.
Fuck. Has he ever been in a faction?
Yes. Time's up, right? You get one final guess with all the clues that I have given you.
Man!
And
I know I'm going to hate this.
And I have tried to help you.
I am going to hate this. I am going to hate this, I can tell. Oh, fuck. Because what I've done is I've tied myself into a corner. If I'd stuck to the first take...
No, you're going to hate yourself, mate. You're going to hate yourself when you find out who it is.
I guessed Wade Barrett and I was wrong.
So
I'm gonna. I don't know.
Do you want no final guess at all?
No.
I'll give you a clue. We've spoke about him on this podcast
Today?
Yes.
Balls and cock. Bushwhacker look.
Bubba Ray Dudley.
Oh, fucking cock. Of course it is. I
thought, see when you said like, does he wrestle for WWE? I was like, oh, you will, because he's had a match like the last 2 weeks.
Well, that's why I thought. You see, what I did was I'd put him and Booker T kind of next to each other.
When you said Big E, I was like, that's a good guess. That's a good guess. But fuck. I knew you'd be here.
Well done. I hated that. Just you wait in the next episode, you're getting a stinker.
We'll change it up and have all sorts of people who are familiar with my podcast know we have different quizzes every single week. People love them, so we'll change it up and stuff.
I've got to say this, man. I hope you watched a lot of WCW Worldwide.
Oh dear.
Last part of the show before we clock off. Shall we do some listener questions?
Of course we should.
We got some good ones in.
We want everybody's opinions and voices and such heard on the podcast.
We reckon we were asked very quickly. DB Photography got in touch and went predictions for Netflix move and how it will change things. I think we could probably do a whole episode on that.
100%.
So we will come back to it. Predictions. I hope lots of people seem to think they're going to go all guns out blazing, like over 18s or really adult content, like the Return of the Attitude Era.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, and I kind of hope they don't.
No, so same. I think that things have so much power when you rarely see them. So when So when Rock dropped the F-bomb on TV
it was massive.
It was like, but imagine they started doing it every week. It would just lose.
It would mean nothing.
And that's one of the criticisms I have of AEW. When you get like MGF going out and cutting the same promo all the time, and it's like, it takes the shock factor away.
MJF is a great example. I really like MJF.
Same, of course.
But there seems to be so many times he seems to have been in a contract dispute and having to go at the boys back that's like, just gonna do some stuff.
I know.
Going to do some stuff, that would be great.
So I like it when they keep, and it was the same with even like the pile driver getting used on SmackDown.
Oh yeah, that was good.
I popped, man. I was like, oh my god, pile driver, because the last time we seen one was fucking CM Punk in 2013, man.
So it's great to see that getting used and coming back for big things. Things. You got one?
So if you were to guess right now, very quickly, Dylan Murdoch asks, who's one of my co-hosts on the Celtic Thunder. He asks, if you were to guess right now, who do you think wins the Royal Rumble?
Oh man,
I think this year's is so hard to predict.
Great question. There's always going to be names in the mix. You're always going to get like a Seth Rollins or someone who's never won one.
Yep.
He has. No, it's all lie. You're quite right. Who has not won one recently.
Yeah.
I would like to see some new names in there. Like I've got to think about the guys coming up. I've got a couple of controversial ones. Like I could see a Bronson Reed winning.
I wouldn't be against it. I certainly wouldn't be against it.
Because they're building him up.
Yep.
If there was a good face in there holding the title just now, that would be quite good.
I think for me right now, if I was to, not who I want to see win it, I think the two people who are going to be favourites to lead the way is going to be Seth and Punk. Because
I think so, yeah.
Either way, it sets up a Seth versus Punk match. at
some point.
WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So that's who I think leads the way. But I would love, and I said this the other day to my mates, I would love somebody totally like a Bronson Reed.
Somebody out of left field would be amazing. I kind of hope that's where they go. I don't want to see if Randy Orton won it, for example, then I would reckon that could be potentially telegraphing the beginning and the end.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting one. John Cena is about to enter his retirement year.
A shout, man.
So it's not impossible that he would be in there.
He would tie Austin for the record, wouldn't he? Because
yeah, so that's what it is. It's open, but I would like it to be someone new. As much as I'm looking forward to Cena's retirement year, I hope it is him doing interesting stuff, fun stuff. I hope it's just not him staring at the lights. I hope it's him maybe that one last world title reign. Yeah. Maybe that would be fun. Him against maybe Gunther or something could be
I think that's in the cards.
A potential Mania match. Aye. That's where I am with that one. Another question I've got. A question about a certain wrestler. Do you guys believe in Joe Hendry, and would you like to see him back in ICW for one more time, and would you see him being world champion in TNA? 3 questions, but I'll answer them all together. That is from James Campbell. James, I have always believed in Joe Hendry. I don't want to be one of those guys that said, but from the first time I saw him, I was like, who's this guy? Mm-hmm. Who's this guy?
I mean, you had the pleasure of being there early days.
Oh my God, he always been talented, always had. We were talking about Matt Cardona on that earlier, always been 10 steps ahead of the hustle and working 10 times harder than he should be. I think what he's doing in TNA is great. It's just the start. There's a lot more to him than the video and the hand clapping and the turn and all that type of thing. But especially as it's been such a huge thing over the last year, I look forward to what's next. Same. And it will be something just as cool. It will be something just as cool.
And I want him to prove all those fucking virgins on Twitter wrong as well. The people whose attention spans are 5 minutes long, and after 5 minutes they get bored of something. Yep. So I can't wait to see what's next.
I want him winning the world title. Him being involved with the matches in NXT proved that he can hang at any level. I would love to see WWE producers get a hold of him.
They will.
I would love to see that. I think they will, but it'll also be on his terms, which I think is cool. Yep. I think is very, very cool.
I want him to be able to go there and give us all his fucking parodies, and I just want the whole shebang.
Yeah. I would love that. I would love that.
This was what I kind of alluded to earlier, Billy. Kevin, who asked, as voices for a Scottish independent promotion, what is your view on WWE ID?
Oh, fucking hell.
So you kind of made a face at the camera earlier when we brought up NXT Europe.
Well, look, here's the thing. I read recently there was talks of them doing other development territories in WWE ID. Here's the thing. I think there's a lot of scenes here in the UK that are kind of trying to re-establish themselves and rebuild themselves because of NXT UK, which I thought was great and was great for the talents here. I think there should have been a bit more crossover. Yep. Them sponsoring individual athletes, which is effectively what it's doing.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I think you should be building relationships with companies more as well. So I don't know, man. I think there's
a side of it which I think WWE has leaned into heavily in recent years, that they really want to be the promotion all over the world. I don't think... I'm not necessarily saying that Triple H is this big evil guy who wants to eliminate independent wrestling as a whole, but I think he would love a world in which WWE was running the world.
Everything, Well, I always go back to saying this, you cannot tell me when there was 4,000 people packed into the SECC when you saw Grado win the world title and the place losing its mind, that someone in Stamford, Connecticut didn't go, that's our fans. That's our fans. When they didn't see Progress doing it, when they didn't see OTT doing it. I hope there's a more thriving period for independent wrestling. I don't have an issue with them seeking out athletes and giving them what they need in some financial guidance or whatever.
No, I think in terms for the individuals themselves, this especially it's only really taking off in America just now. I don't know how long it's going to take for it to translate overseas. But for these athletes over there, I can understand as an independent, it probably helps massively.
I would imagine.
Great news.
It feels like kind of signing people but not signing people, keeping them freelance.
The only thing that I will say is I hope that it doesn't strip them of their freedoms, in the sense that I hope they get allowed to do everything they'd be allowed to do if they weren't ID'd.
As soon as you start hearing people going I'll have to run that past.
I have a good feeling about it, because I'm not just saying this because I'm a fan, but it looks as though Phil, aka CM Punk, is very involved with this. I
Close
think
friend of the show.
I think he's one of the top guys.
Well, in that case, he's always got his ear to the ground of the independent guys.
Exactly. So
and
I'm
that's
hoping
great.
that helps.
And I think it's a bigger. I'll be honest. I think it feels like it's a bigger thing in America than it is anywhere else.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think they should be good relationships with all independents, particularly in the UK. I'm not saying like in each other's pockets or what have you, but I just feel like I don't think it really knows what it is yet. So I just think it's okay. There's been a fair few, and by the way, NXT Europe is either happening or not. Stop talking about it. There, I've said it.
I'm pretty sure it's been binned.
Good.
I'm pretty sure they've scrapped, because what they wanted to do originally was NXT Europe, NXT Asia, NXT Africa,
That's
NXT
right.
whatever. And I'm pretty sure a couple of years ago it got scrapped entirely, and now they're just going forward with the WWE ID program.
Well,
I'm pretty sure that's it.
I think that's a wee bit disappointing, but I also don't think NXT UK got to be what it should have, which I think should have been an umbrella, an amalgamation for all the companies to wrestle in rather than just be a thing of its own.
Yeah.
And as mental as that must sound, I'm sure someone's going like, why would we just not sign these talents? Okay, well, do the WWE ID program, do super shows with your WWE ID, and have ICW, have Progress on it, have OTT, have Rev Pro, have all them having representative matches and companies on there.
Yeah.
So I can do that.
As long as we're commentating.
Yeah, and next time, and when you're coming to Raw, we'll come out and call a match.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll come out and call a match.
Like,
It's fine.
when I was in Berlin, they brought out the two German commentators. I was like, there must have been
Love the
such
German.
clash.
Big fan of the German boys. Sat next to them once a few years back, and good pair of lads.
Oh,
Good pair of
good
lads. Let's see. There's been a fair few bootleg Canes popping up recently. Blue Cane, Candy Cane, Kane, who is my personal favourite.
I think my favourite was Cocaine.
Cocaine is very
he's my
funny as well.
favourite.
One, which is your favourite, and who would win a deathmatch tournament between them all? I've got to say, man, you never mess with Gain. I think Gain is this is all because like Blue Cane got a cease and desist.
That's right.
Fucking grow up.
I know. It's
Grow
terrible.
up.
And a teacher at school called Mr. Kane. I'd like to enter him into the battle royal. Let's bring him in.
Russell Kane will stick him in. I think it's good. Do you know what it is? It's one of the things that we have such a sense of humour, and it's a love. It's a homage.
Yep.
It's like, oh, well, he's earning money off Kane's name. It's just not the same. If he turned up dressed as Kane,
Yep.
nobody would pay him the fucking first bit of attention.
Exactly.
Right? But he's turning up as Blue Kane.
And it's like, what is it? Instead of it's ice instead of fat, it's like,
And now
snow
he's
instead of
known
fire or
as
whatever.
Blue Pain,
Aye.
which I'm on board with. But Gain was one of the ones that probably
That's good.
proper popped me. I want a Gain t-shirt. We got a couple of the last ones here, just quick. Here's one for you. Should Shawn Michaels book the women's division on Raw and SmackDown because NXT's women's division is booked much better than the A and B shows?
That's a good question. I don't know what Sean would think of that. Double duty wise, getting asked to
Let him
book
cook.
more.
Let him cook where he is.
I think that he should stick to just being in NXT, and I think that the women's division should be judged more heavily next year.
Yeah.
When they get to grips with this new division that's coming in with the Women's United States Championship, and also Raw and SmackDown are supposedly turning to both 3-hour shows.
Yes.
So that's an extra hour to play with, not just on Raw, but on SmackDown. It should allow more time for women to be on the shows. This time next year, I will answer that question.
Right, yeah.
I think next year should be judged.
Well, they need to make us that you were talking earlier about being like a long-served wrestling fan. Mm-hmm. Seeing the evolution over the time is... what I love is this, right? I remember being... Oh, that's my phone going. I remember being at a WrestleMania a few years ago and seeing a young girl walking with her parents, who might have been wrestling fans, might have been casual wrestling fans, I'm not too sure. But... and she had on a Charlotte Flair t-shirt. She had on a Bayley headband. She had on the women's replica world title, not the men's.
Yeah, the women's.
She had the women's replica world title on, and just thinking, that is fucking cool.
It's class, isn't it?
That is fucking cool. And then you see guys in the stands.
Because you wouldn't see that in 2009.
100%. 100%.
Wouldn't see that in 2009.
And then you see guys, whatever gender, in the stands with their favourite. They're seen as... And I go all the way back to when we ran an all-wrestling, female wrestling ICW show, and I went, they're not female wrestlers, they're wrestlers.
Yes.
And I think some of my favourite parts of the show now are in the women's division.
We always talk about how class Denise is, for example.
Oh, fuck, man. Well, in ICW on its own.
Well, I thought that's what you were talking about, is ICW.
Dude, everyone knows I've got a crush on Denise. Everyone knows that. I think everyone's got a crush on Denise. Don't kid yourself. But even on, I love the Nia Jax and, oh my God, Tiffany Stratton. It's so fucking entertaining. But also, they're doing it in the ring, man, and they're smashing it. And I just think, it's
in a great place.
It has to evolve every few years.
When I was at WrestleMania this year in Philadelphia, I shit you not, the shirt that I seen the most was Rhea Ripley shirts.
Oh yeah,
and I don't know if that's just people being horny bastards.
But Rhea's huge though.
Yeah, she is. She's a superstar,
and she's brilliant in everything she does. I mean, honestly, you talk about The Rock getting stolen and going to Hollywood and John Cena. I think Rhea gets the right role. She's away.
Exactly.
She's away.
A unique look.
And she gets to pump Buddy Matthews, who's gorgeous as well.
Exactly.
So I've got to say, I think it's let them cook.
Let them cook.
Let them cook. Sean is doing the right thing just now, making that division exciting. Every now and then I will turn on NXT and there might be a face I've never seen or I haven't seen enough of. And that's exciting. Because you look at Tiffany Stratton, who it felt like she was a whisper. She was in and out of NXT.
She was green. She was really green, to the point where I remember watching her first couple of matches and going, and now she's one of the best in the world.
Now she's one of the best, and she's learning from the best. And you need to make that shift from NXT to there. From the other side, you've also seen people like in NXT. It all goes back to the Paul Heyman thing, right? And I'll wrap up on this, certainly, like the Paul Heyman thing of hiding the negatives and extenuation, the positives. That all changes when you go to the main roster. Mm-hmm. That all changes when the shows are live. You're in front of 10,000 people a night. You're wrestling people that are the best in the world.
Well, the best wrestler.
Yeah. You are. You know what I mean? You're up there against guys that are able to. It's commanding, and God, even just the idea. Like someone said to me the other day, it's like, oh, you've done actual TV presenting, and you've done live events when you're doing an element of presenting and all that type of thing, and all that goes in your head. And the trick is to not look panicked by it all. And I think about what these guys are doing, and it's like, fucking hell.
I salute what they're doing in any level. Like, whether it's in the asylum or whether it's in fucking Lincoln Financial Field in front of 70,000 people.
Definitely.
It's just nuts.
If Sean eventually finds himself on the main roster, booking committee, creative side or whatever, that could happen. Might not be what he wants to do, might not want to do that schedule. He's got young kids, he's happily married. He gave up that side of the road to do this. So it might be more of I'm all right.
Yep.
You know, but if he did find himself in there, and I couldn't think of a better brain, they need someone equative to that to be doing NXT. Phil Brooks has talked about doing that.
Oh, yep, exactly.
I could think about some.
He seems like the natural heir to the Shawn Michaels throne.
He seems to be, and I think that's what he's angling for. And great choice if that were to happen. But right now, Sean is doing amazing. The fact that he's the expression "let him cook" is now
Chef Sean.
Chef Sean. So to answer the question definitively, we need to let them evolve.
Yeah,
but I agree. I don't think we need Sean yet. But do so. Keep an eye on those tag team titles. Will you do me that one favour, the women's tag team titles? Keep an eye on there, because it feels to me like you keep dropping the ball with those. I don't think we need Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill to have those titles.
They'll be losing it soon anyway.
They have
to. Surely they're fighting each other at Mania, so.
They have to. They have to. Jade needs to make that. Let's remember the star she was when she came in last year. She's still got the aura right now. And for fuck's sake, turn her heel. Oh my God.
Yep, 100%.
Her versus Charlotte.
Yes.
That's going to be amazing.
Bring it to me.
And she's still green as fuck. So there
Bring
we
it
go.
to me. Bring it to me.
Right.
What a show.
That was episode 1.
What a show.
Probably way too long.
See, to be fair, I think for the first episode, when you're trying to introduce things, not too bad.
Not too bad. Well, this is Wrestling Forever. He's been Ryan Fitzsimons. I've been Billy Kirkwood, of course. We would love to engage with you on social media, so if you are watching this, feel free to send us in questions, feel free to send us in ideas for Rebook or Tia, feel free to tell us if you think it's shite or good. It's all good. It's all good. And share it with your pals if you're into wrestling. If they were into wrestling, the difference with this show is it's going to be different every time we do it. Like, we're not just going to be, this happened in Raw, that happened in Raw, this person.
Who wants that?
Who wants that? Who wants that? Although we might come in here raging one day going, see what's happened?
Did you see Raw last night?
Fucking shite.
All 3 hours, let's talk about it.
Oh, man, I don't even get. Who does that? It's like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do a podcast episode that reviews other wrestling podcasts.
We'll get us hated by the whole community. Can't wait. Anyway.
Right, so like, share, subscribe, do all the usual stuff. Make sure to check out as well Ryan's football podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Number one.
I'm going full fucking heel. Number 1. Acknowledge
I think
me.
that cuts off our hand. I think it cuts off our hand. Make sure to check it out. This is very much the bloodline of wrestling podcasts. What you don't know is we've actually got Simon Cassidy from ICW duct taped up in the corner.
He's been forced to listen to the whole thing.
He's been forced to listen to the whole thing and not say a word.
Aye.
He's been busting it at one fall. And we will see you very, very soon.